Sam Davis here with Ryan Gregware. Pleased to be joined by Joe Kelly, 12-year MLB pitcher, two-time World Series champion. Joe Kelly, the author now, A Damn Near Perfect Game, Reclaiming America's Pastime. Joe, first of all, thank you so much for being with us today.
Sam, Ryan, thank you guys. Yes, never thought I'd be an author, obviously.
Never thought it would be Joe Kelly, the author, right?
Correct.
Didn't think that title would be.
That's cool. It'll be on the Wikipedia page.
Exactly. That's how you're known for now, I guess.
Right. I'm going to put that before baseball player for sure.
But Joe, just tell me about the book. What kind of motivated you to start writing it, and what can we kind of expect from it?
Well, so motivation, we kind of pitched it a few years ago. Me and my co-author, Rob, he's a media member based out of obviously Boston. And, we always did podcasts together, followed my podcast on other shows, and he always felt like they went really well, right? So he's like, man, you have a lot to say. Fans respect you. They know you're transparent. They know you're being honest. He's like, what do you think about writing a book when you're done? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So then the lockout happens, right? And, me being from LA, just got done playing with the Dodgers. So-called fan favorite, obviously. Every day I would go out, whether taking my kid to school, haircut, a lunch, a dinner, practices. I got the same question during the lockout, like, when are you guys going to play? Why are you guys being greedy? When you guys come back, I'm not going to watch you guys. And I don't have social media, right? So it's not like one of those things where I had time to kind of explain what was going on, deep dive into these deep conversations about why there is a lockout. So I started getting irritated because the lockout was going on. I missed the game. People were telling me how much they missed the game. And so I ended up sitting down and writing pretty much a letter to fans, right? And because I kept hearing the same thing over and over, like F baseball, pretty much. And so I sat down and it was an open letter I wrote, and it was called, it's pretty much a letter to fans. And it was pretty much don't give up on baseball, right? And so I sat down and wrote this, and, that the Times ended up wanting to pick it up. And they're like, hey, it's cool. We put it in our sports site. I said, sure. So they put it in, and it blew up. And I didn't expect that, right? It was just me trying to just,
speak from the heart.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And ended up doing real well. And Rob came back and he's like, dude, that piece was great. Yeah, What about writing a book now? And I said, I don't know if we're gonna have that much time, man. Lockout's probably gonna end soon. He's like, well, let's just start getting the ball rolling. He's like, because if you want to do it, now's a good time, because a lot of publishers have been, reading this piece and, give you cred that you could actually write a book. Like, if we were pitching this with, I had no content, like, how could this guy write, And so we pitched it, and I mean, we had great from big companies to little companies, different kind of publishers who were like, yeah, let's talk. So we kind of got the ball rolling, and, we ended up going with Diversion, who's a great publisher, and we started like, hey, this is the deadline, let's get it done. So it was a multi-year thing. But ultimately, I mean, me and Rob cranked it out in like 3 months, grinding super hard. But yeah, it's a great book. I mean, it goes from, obviously people know the incidents of, my fights, and the more recent one, obviously with Carlos Correa and the Astros. That's actually chapter 1. I titled it The Power of a Pout. So
you jump right into it.
Yeah, you got to jump right into it and kind of clear it and kind of get the reader's attention. But there's tons of stuff in it, and there's from, famous actors to musicians to my guys I've played with, to different sports, to hockey, to golf, to everything. And everyone has a story about baseball, right? Like, it's America's pastime. Every single year there's more kids playing baseball in little leagues or ponies than any other sport combined. But the disconnect between that and the actual views are way far off, right? So there's different ideas about how to change that, how to coach. I'm a coach. I coach my kids, and how to actually coach kids who all they want to do is watch Twitch streamers and copy these dances and do that. And I don't shy away from saying that's bad, but as a parent and you're coaching a kid, like, how to be less frustrated with it, like how to get kids' attentions, just understanding how little kids work. And then obviously my favorite chapter in the book is me and the commissioner, Rob Manfred. So going into it, obviously we had our problems. I've been suspended multiple times from him. I've been fined, not from him, but baseball.
Yeah, of course.
Suspended, fined a ton of money. I've been outspoken about it. And the lockout, the players and the commissioner didn't really have a good relationship, right? So There's a whole chapter, literally just me and Rob sitting down, and I'm not going to say I'm the first player to ever do it, but I think in a positive light of actually having good interaction and actually listening to what I have to say, what he has to say, open dialogue, I think is probably the first time of I'm not saying all sports, but I think of baseball where a player who's still playing and the commissioner speak, and nothing's edited in it, verbatim, word for word, 45-minute, turn into a chapter. And for me, when I was done with it, I had a change of heart for him. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like him. After we spoke, I understood him. I understood his thought process. I understood how much he loves the game and he's not hurting us, how much he's pushing the game this way. And I think fans, especially players, I know for sure, but fans are going to have a change of heart for him too. And, I think it's going to show people that, yeah, he is really good commissioner for our game. Obviously, Adam Silver's loved by everyone in the NBA, fans, everything. And, Rob is not too far away. It's just that he hasn't been, the pub on him hasn't been great, right? He called the World Series trophy a piece of metal. But what people don't understand, I thought, like, if you read that, it sounds terrible, right? Like, F that guy as a player. We play for a World Series. We want this. Like, that's all we play for. And at first, if I read it, like, yeah, that's BS. I didn't want him to say that. But knowing him and talking with him, he's very witty. He's very funny. Like, it's just like, what's the big deal? It's literally something I probably would have said. Like, what's the big deal? Like, yeah, the trophy, but like, it's literally a piece of metal. It's made out of metal. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, you guys are playing for this. It's made out of metal. Like, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't trying to be negative. And so when that gets taken like that, people see him in the wrong light. But yeah, like I said, I had a change of heart, and there's a whole chapter in my book, A Damn Near Perfect Game, and I'm excited for people to actually see him in that way.
Well, first off, love the Baseball Isn't Boring shirt.
Appreciate it. Yes.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a great shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just in that aspect, you brought up the gap between more kids playing baseball, but yet the viewership's going down. So in those conversations with Manfred, I'm sure you write about it a lot in the book, but what are some of the ways that Major League Baseball is looking to attack those issues, grow the game into a younger audience, and get baseball back to being America's pastime?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So what has happened, why the views have gone down? Number one reason is, back in the day, obviously, baseball wanted to make more money. These owners want to make more money. And they ended up kind of monopolizing your team into an area of cities and / people who go watch it, right? So all these regional cable networks came in with tons of money and said, we want to broadcast your games for the next 10 years. Here's this money. And I was like, sure. But the repercussion was that, like, they didn't know blackouts obviously were going to be coming. Like,
Right.
We didn't know. We thought you were just like going to sport and like everyone could still see it. So that didn't happen, right? So all these teams are locked into that. Ultimately, that took away tons of views. Like, if you're in LA, you can't watch the Dodgers play unless you have Spectrum.
Yeah.
If you're in Boston, you can't watch the Red Sox game unless you buy Nesson. Like, if you have DirecTV, sucks for you. Like, you have to have the cable.
There's some spots in Connecticut too, because that's where I'm from, where you can't watch Yankees or Red Sox based on the area. You can't watch multiple teams.
So that counts
even
towards
Mets
the
or
views,
whatever.
right?
Yeah.
So he knows that. I knew that. We kind of talk about it, and we kind of are weeding out those deals, and what he's doing, kind of setting the tone already, right? So he sees the writing on the wall of where we need baseball back. So he's not going to go out and say, hey, you guys are done. Once this deal's up, you're done. You know what I mean? But what he's doing is kind of making it transparent that he's done. Hence why you see we signed with Apple. We signed with now YouTube. Like, we have the game of the week on Friday. So he's already setting the foundation for when these deals run up, our views are going to come back through that way. Another way the views are going to come back is, making your team actually spend money on players. So, Steve Cohen, like, I'm technically the enemy because I play against the Mets, right? But I'm a big fan of him. I don't even play for him. That's not my boss. But I'm excited as a player, going like, dang, look at him do this. Oh my God, he signed that guy. Like, how many guys are he going to sign? Like, and I'm an actual MLB player. As a fan, it's even more exciting for them, right? And so I talk with Rob in the book, like, hey, when are we going to get, the Steve Ballmers? He's sitting courtside. He's dumping all his money in the Clippers. He's passionate. Where are the baseball owners? You don't ever see him on TV. You don't ever see him in the front row. You don't ever see him committing. Like, how are we going to get Pittsburgh to spend more money on their players when, we had one player on our team make 38 mil last year and the Pirates spent 43 on the whole team? Like, that's not fair. Like, we need to weed out the old owners, because when you become an owner, you become an owner for one reason, right? You're a billionaire. And so you have other billionaire friends. But the way to one up your other billionaire friend who might have $1 billion more than you is to say, you might have more money than me, but guess what? I own a team.
Yeah.
Look at how cool I am. So it's a way to kind of stunt on billionaires, right? But somehow along the line, the disconnect came where they forgot that they already made their money. And it's just like, why would you buy an Escalade instead of a Tahoe? Like, it's the same car, but you buy the Escalade because you have the money.
Right.
You don't buy the Escalade to like keep making money. So like, it's like a team. You don't buy the team to keep making money. Like, you already made your money. That's how you own a team. And so now the owners that are like, oh no, I can make money by owning the team, like they switch their mindset. So we got to kind of weed out those owners, get the young guys in. Like, you see Live Golf, like bring in the young Saudi prince who has like $50 billion to buy a team and let him spend. You know what I mean? Like, they're okay with spending money. So there's just different ways you could go about it like that. And like I said, the kids are the ones that are playing the game, but they're not watching it. So how do we do that? I go through and I told Rob, it's not in the book, like after, like, man, I got an even better idea. Like, we're signing these deals with these companies, right? But what do kids mostly watch? They're watching Twitch, right? So why can't we do a deal with Twitch where it's like, we call it Twitch Tuesdays, and you have 10 Major League Baseball games all broadcasted on Twitch on Tuesdays? Like, because then the kids are already on Twitch, watching their favorite streamers. Like, why not have them be a part of baseball? Like, that's how you kind of grow the game, the instant, instant gratification of a play. Like, MLB owns all the copyrights. So if someone does something good or someone gets hurt and blows out their ACL, if you search it on Twitter, you can't find that injury anywhere until MLB puts it out, right? But you see a UFC fight and go, guy blows his knee out, type it in, video, bam. But baseball, no, they own it. And so they kind of need to start keeping up with the times, getting rid of all these, like, hard lines of like what can be posted, what not be posted. And I think when I'm done playing, it's going to grow for sure. But you could already kind of see the foundation getting set.
Here with Joe Kelly, two-time World Series champion, author of A Damn Near Perfect Game, Reclaiming America's Pastime. I'll be sure to check that one out. But I want to talk about, of course, being a Red Sox fan myself, 2018, your time overall in Boston. What was that year like? What was the World Series like? You have a quote, I think, from Big Papi right on the cover there. So what's your relationship like with him? But overall, just your time in Boston, just reflecting on that.
Me and David have had a great relationship, obviously. Back to the
hard
times
to find
when
a guy that had a bad relationship with him. It seems like that's the kind of guy that he is.
Well, I just still think back when I did a spoof and I kind of trolled him with dressing up as a old undercover reporter, right? His name was Jim Buchanan. And, until like I actually showed him that it was me. Like, we went down to the video room. I was like, hey, you know that guy? He's like, oh, you met that guy, that old reporter? Man, he was asking me weird questions. He's saying my name wrong. I'm like, no, do you know that guy? And then it was like a video of me taking off the makeup. He goes, oh, you got like, smacking me. So we have a great relationship. That's funny. Yeah, 2018 was historic, right? Best Red Sox team to ever play, most wins, best record. And ultimately, I think the way we came together was we became brothers, right? I knew we were talented. The repercussions from having a bench clearing ball, kind of set the tone, right? Brought guys together more. I mean, after the fight, you could look at the record. I think we rattled off literally 17 straight wins. There was a player only meeting after that fight where we didn't think everyone pulled their own weight, right? We had a rookie who was the first one in the fight, and then our first baseman first in the fight. So it's Rafael Devers, Mitch Moreland. I knew Rafael Devers for about 30 days, and he had my back more than a guy I played with the past 3 seasons. And so behind closed doors meeting went down. I talk about in the book, and calling guys out like, hey, if you guys are going to be brothers, play for each other, die for this guy X amount. And we bonded, man. We bonded. Rookies, the 10-year vets were hanging out. We going to dinners. Wives are hanging out. Like, it just became one big family. And then it shows. The teams that win the most games love each other the most, right? No animosity. And so it was one of my favorite seasons of all time for sure. I made memories that are going to last a lifetime. I'll go back to Fenway when I'm done playing, for the 10-year reunion, the 20-year reunion. And, it's a special place to play. And, I had my first kid when I was a player in Boston. We lived in Quincy, which is people are always surprised that I say that, but that's like, tough nose and blue collar. And, you can leave your bike outside and your neighbor will watch it for you. A little old school, but, my time in Boston is something I'll cherish for, the rest of my life. I tell people all the time, toughest place to play, hardest place to play, greatest place to play. You know what I mean? And it's really a fishbowl. People think it's a huge city. Like, I was from LA. I thought it was a big city. It's not. There's literally only 1 million people in the downtown area, and there's 20 million people in like 5 cities in LA. So it's definitely a special place to play, man. And once you wear that uniform, you're in the brotherhood for life, and it's awesome to be part of.
Now, you mentioned that brawl in 2018 with Tyler Austin. Also, you got into it with the Astros after their cheating scandal. What do you think it is about you that has allowed you to be in those moments, but embrace them, to be the guy that, push back and to be, kind of the face of that pushback?
The funny thing is it hasn't changed. I've been that way my whole life, right? So the time has always matched up with, me being involved, right? It's always been organic. But I've been like that since I was 6 years old, right? I'm from a family of 5. My first fight ever was sticking up for a teammate in Las Vegas at a tournament. It's one of those things. It's not like I'm a bully. I'm not an enforcer. It's always after a repercussion of something that needs to be right. The ship needs to be like always after someone else does something dumb, right? Obviously. So I'm not going out, picking fights. Like I'm not gonna go out on the street, pick a fight. You know what I mean? Like, but if someone was treated wrong, like, hey, what's up, man? Like, so it's kind of just became organic where, this situation happens and, I'm kind of sticking up for the people, not just my team. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that people are like, well, he wasn't even on the Dodger team. And then like, no, you're right. But I was on the Red Sox team at the time and they beat us too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it ultimately isn't about that. Like doing that kind of scandal obviously ruins people's careers, right? You only have this much time in the game to make money or provide for your family as quick as you can, right? And so, you don't make money your first 3 years, and then say your arbitration, you start making money, you get to actually fight for how much you think you're worth. And so that year, I'm sure there's guys who are like on the fringe of making a lot of money and say they play the Astros and obviously they know it's coming and then they blast them around the yard and it skews their numbers going into the next offseason. That could cost millions and millions of dollars. And so that's the part that I didn't like. And then obviously the part where, after it happens, it wasn't like, all right, yeah, sorry, we did. It was more of like the way it went about, still thinking they're entitled, like, well, now you should forgive us type thing. So it's always been, I feel like people who don't like can't stick up for themselves, like they want to, but like they don't have it in them. They weren't born that way. They weren't born with like if I get in a fight, I don't care if I lose, like, but I'm still gonna fight for what I think is right. You know what I mean? And it's kind of carried throughout my whole life. And just because I'm playing Major League Baseball, I'm not gonna be any different. Like I'm still a human being, right? Like that's why I guess fan bases have came to love me because I'm authentic, genuine. If the media asks me a question, what happened? Why'd you get injured? I'm not gonna say, I felt something in the game. I was just being precautionary. No, I'm gonna go, I blew out my hamstring. I'm gonna be done for 3 months. Like I'm gonna tell you right away. I'm not gonna like give you the vanilla answer. And I think if there was more guys like that, obviously you get more views and people would love baseball. But from the time I was, first called up in the big leagues, like I did a national anthem standoff my rookie year, like a rookie when there was hazing, like that's unheard of. You know what I mean? So like,
wasn't that in the playoffs?
Yeah,
Well?
in the biggest situation and in the NLCS. I was 24 years old. Like you don't see that. You know what I mean? So like I've never changed, and I think that's why people have liked it. And it's not like I'm famous for like I've never been an all-star. You know what I mean? Never been a star closer. I've never been like your center fielder. But like I could walk down the street with Mookie Betts in LA and people are like, Joe, let me get a photo. And Mookie, can you hold the phone? Like, you know what I mean? So
has
like,
that ever happened actually?
Oh, it's happened numerous times.
Oh my god.
Like Cody Bellinger,
that
take a
blows
photo
my mind.
Yeah. But
it's
like that's what
Mookie
people
Betts,
connect
though,
that's what people connect
wow.
with, you know what I mean? Like they don't know Mookie on a personal level. They think like I'm family. You know what I mean? At that point. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's Joe. I really appreciate you taking some time.
Guys.
Just a couple more here. Looking at 2020 and that World Series with the Dodgers, just talk about what that experience was like. Obviously no fans and it's such a different environment. Obviously the world in a completely different place. Just what that year was like for you winning the World Series with LA.
The year was crazy, obviously. Got suspended, but what was cool though, we did finally, the championship series, we had half the stadium filled, right? And in the World Series, we had fans, which was great. So it felt like World Series, but it was different, right? We win the World Series and, my dad, my family, my brother, like they're all sitting in the stands. They can't come celebrate with us on the field. So it's kind of upsetting on that point. But yeah, we were the number 1 seed, right? So we were in Arlington. We were in the same locker room for 41 days, whatever it was, same hotel for 41 days. Kind of shut off from the world. And it was fun though. That's the kind of memories we made. Like my kids became best friends with ex-player kids where like normally that wouldn't happen because you go to the field in the family room. All right, bye, see you later. But we were all living together, like room, like one big unit for a little over a month, right? So that was probably one of the coolest takeaways I have from the World Series. Winning a ring is awesome. You know, the celebration, there was no parade, obviously, because of COVID. But the bonds we made, obviously, with winning is big, but, you know, we're on all different teams, most of these guys now, but we also talk to each other. Like, I just played golf in Justin Turner's golf event. It was Seager, it was Nick Punto, me, guys on different teams that are like still playing baseball. But like, that just shows you what kind of bond you have, right? Like, because I mean, when the world was at its craziest, we had each other. And so that's another special bond that we'll always have forever. So yeah, it was definitely a different kind of World Series and different kind of celebration, but they both have their positives. So yeah.
Now, the infamous picture, the meme that everyone knows, I'm sure, by now, the shrugging, leaving the mound with the Dodgers. Just wondering, did that change your career at all? Did that let you get noticed more? And you said you don't have social media, but I imagine that you've seen that quite a few times.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a mural. Yeah, I've seen it numerous times. I don't think it changed my career necessarily, right? But once again, another incident, or not on purpose, right? Like, I have kids. When my kids whine at me, and I make fun of them back, like, like, so like, I heard whining, and that's the first thing came to my mind. Obviously, that's not planned. But once again, like, another big situation happened like that, and our team got closer, and we won the World Series. So like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it changed my career at all. It changed, I think, a team dynamic for sure. Like I said, first was an actual fight. Next was, you know, a pouty face, like, benches clearing thing. And I know that my teammates love me more. They're like, dude, you're freaking unbelievable. Did you whine back at him? Like, before it was even viral, right? They're like, did you like make a sad crying face at him? I'm like, yeah, he's bitching. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I thought he looked like. So like I said, it just brought us together as a unit more, on a different level. Like, you know what I mean? I enjoyed it for sure. I didn't see all the repercussions. My wife has social media, so she'll show me, obviously. But yeah, it's pretty funny, especially when around Halloween time, when you see all the kids dress up and do it. Yeah, it was fun for sure.
Joe, just last one here before we get you out of here. Just thoughts on the Super Bowl, obviously being here. Any favorites in the matchup, or what are you looking forward to seeing, or anything like that?
Oh, I'm a diehard fantasy football guy.
Okay.
Not to brag, I won the White Sox League this year.
Oh, wow.
Me and AJ Pollock were teammates.
How many teams in that? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Big buy and big pot.
Wow.
And I'm not going to name the names, but a couple players on the Eagles helped me win it, so I'm going Eagles. Just
Okay.
Because they helped me, I want them to win.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, we can speculate who based on.
We can. You don't have to share, but
one throws the
speculate.
football a lot.
Okay,
you know,
there you go.
Puts
Okay.
up a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Joe Kelly, 12-year MLB pitcher, 2-time World Series champion, and now an author. Joe,
Thank you guys
so much for taking
Really
the time to be with
appreciate
us.
it.
Thanks, boys.
We'll be right back with more one-on-one.